Many have compared you to Zohran Mamdani. What do you think of that comparison?
He promised his voters, like, the subway will be free, and I'm promising my voters the metro buses, the metro trains, they will be free from urine, feces, stabbing, attacks.
Well, like him or not, he is memorable. Los Angeles mayoral candidate Spencer Pratt was a big topic over the weekend, certainly in all of my discussions. The former reality TV star is emerging as a favorite in LA and nationwide. His campaign ads have been going viral for good reasons. Tens of millions of views. They are raw, they're emotional. Same like with that interview. And they even have now mini films, AI generated, about him that folks have been putting up on themselves. Pratt says his campaign is centered around common sense. He's trying to knock down the current Democratic establishment that he says has failed him, his family, and his community. In a way, it is similar to the way New York City Zohran Mamdani said he was going to run, except it's, well, Mamdani was sort of communist, and Spencer Pratt says he's a pragmatist. The Free Press asking the big question on everyone's mind, could he win? Author of that piece is with us, Peter Savodnik, senior editor at the Free Press. Nikki Laurenzo, Nexstar host of Inside California Politics, also recently hosted Nexstar's California gubernatorial debate, which was awesome. Peter, normally it's ladies first, but I want to start with you and make you answer your own question. Can Pratt win?
Yes, he can.
Okay.
Look, I think.
Well, that was a great question. That was a great answer, I might say. Nikki, you agree?
Look, anything is possible. I will say he is having a major impact on the race right now. If you look at the debate last week that was held in Los Angeles, he is affecting the messaging from the candidates. Karen Bass was asked, the incumbent mayor, if she would end the needle exchange program that's sponsored by the city of LA, that's part of the harm reduction program the city sponsors. And she said yes. I'm not sure that's an answer that she would have had if Spencer Pratt were not in this race.
Right.
Peter, what makes you say that this is something different than us in the media watching views on YouTube and equating that to political support in a place that the Democratic machine has completely owned?
Look, I think that there has been, over the past decade or more, like this series of disruptions, things that were not supposed to happen that then happened. Donald Trump is the best example of that. Zohran Mamdani, more recently in New York. I don't know that it's a good idea to compare Pratt too much to one or the other, but I think that the larger phenomenon is what's at work here. He is not what's supposed to happen in LA, and I think what a lot of people here, the reigning orthodoxy has been that no one who is not a Democrat or a kind of a dyed-in-the-wool progressive can win, and that means coming with all the institutional support, the unions and they're all the ground troops and all that. I don't know that that's true anymore. Look, he's on track to come in second on June 2nd, which means he'll make the primary cutoff and they'll move on to the general. And then the big question is, does he have the manpower and the discipline to go all the way to November? And that remains to be seen.
Okay, so then it's a mano-a-mano. Karen Bass, likely, who's the incumbent mayor, who's shellacked because of the fires, versus Spencer Pratt, who says that's why he is running, is because of Bass's incompetence during the fires out there and his house burning down. Nikki, one of the great things about Nexstar is our stations around the country, both you in Sacramento and then our station in KTLA, is this phenomenon of Pratt, which clearly is something that has caught in the attention of America in a certain way because it's hit on this raw nerve. Is that the feeling among voters in LA as well?
You know, I have to say, leading up to this, people didn't know what to make of Spencer Pratt, and they thought of him as the guy who lost his home in the LA fires and who was relentlessly posting on social media about it. And initially, they weren't taking him seriously. Mm-hmm. I would say in the recent weeks, they are. We did a poll a couple of weeks ago, and it showed Karen Bass 1, Spencer Pratt 2, and then Councilwoman Nithya Raman 3rd, with a majority of Angelino's undecided. I interviewed him a couple of months ago and asked him about that, and he said, look, they're not undecided, they just don't know my message yet. And he has been able to use social media and tap into the zeitgeist of the angry Angelino. And I want to say that this reminds me a lot of 2015. I know we don't want to make comparisons to other campaigns and candidates, but a lot of folks didn't take Donald Trump seriously then. And maybe when pollsters were making calls to people, they weren't being very honest about who they were going to vote for. But he's been able to tap into this sentiment in Los Angeles right now where they're looking around and they're saying, okay, yes, the fires, that's an issue, but also public safety, affordability, and we've been relying on people with experience, and look where it's gotten us. And that's really been Spencer's message.
Nikki, I want to play a little bit about the undecided voters, because I think you rightly point out there's this huge block who is lost. Take a listen.
Just 1 month before the primary, a recent poll from UCLA indicated that over 40% of the electorate still is undecided. What does that say to you about who you might be able to bring under your constituency?
Everyone wants change. Again, Bass has not changed. Councilwoman Robin is actually a worse change. It's Bass, but worse, which is mind-boggling. So those people, A, they didn't hear my message yet. B, they heard it and they just don't want to argue with something like, oh, he's a reality star. Oh, they just hang up and say undecided.
Okay. Peter, is there undecideds that are still reachable for Pratt?
Yes, because look, this is like as we report in the story, like getting to like a Pratt vote is a process, right? You've got to get over this hill. It's like the hills, and it's this reality television star, and it's you know, it's like, are we really going to elect him? And the thing is that, you know what, like at a certain point you say, maybe, yeah, I can imagine that, or what are the alternatives? And I mean, I've had this conversation now with many voters, and it's kind of like you can see the kind of the thought processes like unfolding in real time.
Yeah. Nikki, let me just get Nikki in the last answer here. If there's going to be a place that's going to elect a reality TV star to be the mayor, it's LA, right?
You would say LA. I mean, look at California elected Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it was the greatest show on earth. If it's going to happen anywhere, I would say it would be Los Angeles. And I will say this, too, in my conversations with Spencer Pratt, he says he's having talks with developers, someone like billionaire Rick Caruso, who ran against Bass and lost, decided not to run again, and said that he would be helping Spencer. Spencer has said, I don't know everything, but I would enlist people who do have the resume to help rebuild L.A.
Well, and it definitely needs rebuilding. Karen Bass has not done much, despite promising to fast-track all of the developments and redevelopment of housing permits. There's been precious little done, something people are pretty angry about. Peter, Nikki, thank you both very much. We'll check back.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.